going live. Oh man. Good morning.
Oh, we're on live.
Yep.
We're on live. We're on live. Oh my goodness. Is it cold up there today?
It's 42. It's gonna be 55. Will be the high. It'll be
55.
cloudy. We're doing the weather now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing the weather in both places of Atlanta and Maryland in the DMV today. Um,
Exactly.
you ready for tomorrow night's Zoom?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
It is going to be fun and interesting. Let me post this. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. And a one. Uh, that's not what I want. There we go. So good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How was your week, TK?
Oh, it's a lot. But I've been working on music for Jade, and I was prompted to pull out, God prompted me to pull out the production list and the cat for the casting crew and go over that thing again. So, and I'm glad we didn't start shooting this week because it would have been a mess. It's supposed to get down to like 26 and 40, 51, and it rained all day yesterday. And that would have been like the second day of filming. So I'm like, well, I'm glad we didn't shoot this week. I'm like, God, you know best because that would have been horrible. That
Oh
would have been
yeah.
horrible. So I'm grateful for the delay in that
Right.
sense of the weather because it's supposed to be, it's a summer movie.
Oh yeah. That exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm like, when are we shooting? So I'm ready. So just waiting for the call that, you know, that the investor is ready. So that's what I did this week. Listen to a lot of music.
Okay. What was it you were listening to?
Everything, everything. Um, Personal people sound because I have a music supervisor, but I also know someone who has a catalog of like 300 songs that he produced and has the copyright and ownership to.
Mm-hmm.
And so he hit me up last year and was like, "Hey, if you ever need music for your one of your movies, I have this catalog." I was like, "Shoot!" So when I started working on, I was prompted to start working on music Monday. I hit him up, and then had some other SoundClouds to listen to. So just listening to really people that uh, I have a connection with, and I know they had music, so I went ahead because I don't want to overstep the music supervisor's job. And I actually wrote a whole bunch of lyrics for the title song that I'm not writing, but you know how your lyrics just
Mm-hmm.
start coming to your head. So I
Yeah.
was like, here's some lines. I was like, this just no particular like these are lines if you guys can feed off of them or use them or whatever. So I sent like 12 or 13 lines. I'm like,
Mm.
shoot, that's almost the song because what the song is 20 lines. What
Oh yeah.
it's a is it about 5 lines per verse and then the bridge?
I don't know. Like when I wrote, because I did songs and poetry and stuff, and I never
Yeah.
really worried about the length, right? Because it
Okay, okay.
depends on the flow, and
Gotcha.
so I just never. thought about it like that, like how many lines it needs to be. It was more so
Okay,
like the time of bars and stuff like that, you know.
gotcha.
Uh
Well, it's two professional songwriters doing it, so um, I was like, hey, well, if you guys are tapping into the title track called "Jaded Heart," I was like, then like I said, I just woke up from a nap and these lines just started coming to me. I was like, here you go. So I gave them those lines. So, but yeah, so that's what I've been working on is music and going over my production list to see what I need in terms, which I already knew, but just a refresher because obviously it's getting close, super,
mhm.
super close. One of the guys I work with, he always says moments away. I'm like, yes, that part. And so, yeah, so I pulled out the production list and just highlighted all the crew and the cast that I still need.
Okay. You know
So I
what?
did that.
While we're talking,
You ready?
let's jump into the thing. Let's do what we gotta
Let's
do,
jump in.
you know. Um, let's get it started. Hey, welcome to the Black Filmmakers Lounge. The Black Filmmakers Lounge is where novice or professionals come together to gain insight and perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black interdependent film community. Like that. So I'm your host, Michael Melvin, my co-host, Tamira T.K. Anderson. As we come here to do what we do, we've been missing for a little while, so we are back on track. We had to take a little break from things, but we are happy to be here, and let us know if you are joining us today. Um, so yeah, so you were writing the songs, preparing for your film, which aligns with our topic of today, right? Because today's topic is I didn't know what I didn't know, the pitfalls of the first time indie filmmaker. So there's a lot like I didn't know. And I didn't realize it until I worked on my first feature. And even being on set for other people's projects, you start to see the mistakes, or you see the mistakes you made, but it also starts to see the mistakes they made because of the knowledge you have. So that's,
Mm-hmm.
an interesting aspect of things. Um, so before we get into that, TK, as always, what you been watching this week?
Nothing. I've
What?
watched nothing. I watched something a couple of weeks ago, but then I can't remember what it was. Um, I've watched nothing. I've been just so busy going and going and then moving and all kind of stuff. So, um, yeah. So I haven't watched anything. So what you watch?
So on Sunday, Tiffany and I went on a date to see Creed 3.
Oh, cool.
Excellent
Okay.
movie. Excellent. I really enjoyed it. Um, then I've been watching Bel Air. So we're on
Okay.
episode 3 or 4. I think we're on episode 3. We did episode 3. So it'll be soon 4. I've been doing the Bad Batch, The Mandalorian, season 3, Bad Batch
Hmm.
season 2. And we just started Power Book 2, season 3, episode 1 yesterday, because it
Hmm.
dropped yesterday on Stars. So we've been doing that. And yeah, it's just they're good stuff. Like, it's been fun, Mandalorian, I think, is on episode 3. So I think that and Bel Air came, and they just renewed Bel Air for its 3rd season now. They
Okay.
just found out. So 3
Oh yeah,
episodes
yeah. I
in.
saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that.
Jamal on YouTube hanging out, Blue Moose or DJ Sci-Fi, whichever you like to call him, said, hey, he watched Cocaine Bear. So which,
Okay. Is Cocaine Bear violent? Because
yeah, it's about a
it looks.
bear that snorts cocaine and goes on a rant. based on a true story, not totally factual,
Oh,
but based on a true story.
really?
Yeah. He says yes, it's violent. Good morning, Felicia. How you doing?
Hey,
Um,
Felicia.
so yeah, that's how I feel. um, man, it was so. I'm gonna talk about Creed 3. I
Okay.
like so because a lot of come up about Sylvester Stallone not being in it, and
Okay.
it wasn't necessary for Rocky to be in, right? And I like the story, the premises. I'm
Mhm.
not going to give away stuff, but of course we know from the trailer, an old friend comes back in his life, and he hasn't. It brings back his past experiences as a kid, so it puts him back in a kid again. And so in a scene
Mm.
when they're boxing, you see they look at each other as those kids, like him and his ex friend see each other as those kids, which is fascinating because sometimes we don't let go of it. And it is about letting go of the past. That's part of the theme,
Mm.
is letting go of the past, and you're not responsible for, especially the things you do as a child, right? The world can't hold it against you. So that's one of the things. Um, but yeah, it was a really good movie. I definitely will buy it. Um, Put it added to the collection since I have Creed 1 and 2.
Okay.
Which is funny because I own no Rocky movies, even though I was a Rocky movie fan. Like,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, I like now Ryan Coogler is a producer. I think his brother or wife, I can't remember the name. I don't know who it is, but someone of the Coogler family wrote the script, right?
Oh.
And he's still Ryan Coogler's still a producer on it, and so I have to look it up who wrote that script, who it was. Um,
Okay.
but it was a good story, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm supposed to go see the Rocky universe. Yeah. Uh, it's I like that they set up the next generation of Creed.
That's what
Okay.
someone said was it was like, I think it's going to be a Creed 4, and you let me know what you think. Who was I talking to yesterday? I
Yeah.
can't remember that they were
Well,
like, let me know what you think.
and so I like that the fact that they're looking at, and we as filmmakers need to be thinking about this, right? Because they were looking at ALS, American Sign Language. I mean ASL,
Hmm.
American Sign Language, um, individuals who are who can't hear or sign. And the little girl that plays his daughter is truly um, deaf, right? And it's so interesting because it
Oh
plays a part of the story.
wow,
Because remember,
really?
the baby was born in the second movie, and they were
Yeah.
testing the baby's hearing, and so you find out that the baby could not hear. And I like the premises
Okay.
because, like her dad, she wants to be a boxer. So there's some scenes you'll see, and the relationship she has with the
Oh
father daughter
wow.
relationship. So that's so
Okay.
key um, to it, and it's like we need to make sure we're thinking about it. I think I saw Tiffany sent me this ad or this campaign for hiring older or elder actors as the main
Mm.
actor of movies, right?
Hmm.
Because we tend to go to the youngest person quick as possible. Oh, we need somebody in their 20s and 30s. But people in their 60s and 70s can play good characters, or the story can
Hmm.
be around them.
Right.
Um, so we need to, as independent filmmakers, we need to be thinking about those things. And then someone who is playing a character, telling their story, because they have stories like everybody. Everyone has a story, except we sometimes typecast our own creativity. I'm saying typecast because we put ourselves in a thing, well, oh, we only have to aim towards this audience, and we miss a whole niche market. And if you ever know
Hmm.
anything about independent filmmaking, knowing your niche market and having a niche market is very important to distributing your film, because it's your niche market that untapped part of the industry or untapped audience can really blow up for you. Um,
Hmm.
you know, just like we talked about 80 for Brady, Hope Springs a few shows back, where you got a movie surrounding older people. And then I remember there was a book club one
Oh.
that Tiffany and I went to see, right?
Hmm.
Um, So we have to think about that. We should be in our writing, in our storytelling, because there should be movies for everybody. And when you're missing an audience, you and I always talk about the tweens, how people are missing them, especially for independent side, because independent filmmakers in the Black community seem to be very pigeonholed to some of the stories and audience and characters they create. Like I said, typecasting their characters already.
Right.
What you got, sis?
I did watch 80 for Brady.
Oh, okay.
We haven't
How
been
was
on
it?
since I said I watched that. I did watch it. I got a few chuckles, but it was definitely a movie for the older audience, and but it was still worth the watch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was still worth the watch how they weaved everything, and it's based on a group of women who are actually 80 for Brady. So they came out with a second movie, and one of them is getting married, and they're going to like they're doing a bachelorette trip to Paris or Italy or something.
Oh, they got another
So
movie coming out?
they have another one coming out.
And you know what? It's funny because that was off the girls' trip premises, right? So
and yeah, because one of them ended up eating an edible, and some girl was passing around some gummy bears at this party. So yeah, it really is kind of like you said. There's no new stories, just new characters and new kind of
So it's just the rapping.
Yeah.
How you gonna rap?
It wasn't as raunchy as Girls Trip. I still haven't watched Girls Trip. It's too raunchy for me. Like
Girls Trip.
I can't watch stuff like that. Like I just can't. Look, I just can't. But it wasn't as raunchy as Girls Trip, that's for sure. But no, it was worth the watch. I was like, it was cute. It was cute. And and for like you said, for that age, it definitely captured that audience.
Yeah, because I think it's important that we start looking at it. It's funny because I've just been doing a book that aligns. The funny thing is, I've never read this book. I've never listened to the audiobook until last week, or the week before I started it, and because I started it for the month of March. So, The Rise of the Filmtrepreneur, right? I know Floyd had been on the show a long time ago. He talked about it. I had never read it, never really followed Alex as much. I know Alex has followed this page, or I've seen, but I just never had been, I've been focused on other things because I usually go for the more technical books and stuff.
Right.
And so I was like, I need some inspiration, and so I did The Rise of the Filmtrepreneur. I did the audiobook. And so I got it off iTunes or Apple Book as the audio book. And on my way to work, I listened to it. And I ended up listening to it on the way home again, and then on the way to work. And I was done within like, a few days. And then I'm back on it again because I like to ingest. Because I actually play audiobooks at 1.25 speed. So, or 1.5 speed, depending. So I can zoom through it because I'm listening. I'm engulfed, and it moves faster. It makes me listen. Because if it moves slow, I get sidetracked mentally. So I have to. It forces me to listen because audiobooks can make you go to sleep and stuff like that. So it's amazing how he and I actually have a lot in common. Like his first short film was called Broken. My first feature film was called See, yeah, your face is lit up. Right? And I was like, wait, what? I'll never do that. And we shot it around the same time. And he shot it in 2004. I was shooting mine in 2004, 2005. Because it was a feature, so we were shooting on the weekends. And as we got towards the end of shooting, we started shooting during the week and at night, But it's so interesting because I never got a chance to put mine out until 2008 after I had gotten married the first time and all that stuff, because there's so many things were slowing me down. And it took about a year to edit because it was a feature film, and it was like 2 hours and 30 something minutes, the original one. And then I edited, the other one, the final one ended up being 1 hour and 50 minutes. And shout out to the cast of Broken, DJ Sci-Fi, Blue Muse, Jamal Terrell. He was in it. He was one of the supportive characters. There you go. So, you know, and that aligns with what we're talking about today, by the way. But it was just so interesting because remember, I've always talked about having a niche market, finding different
Mm-hmm.
ways to produce your book, or I mean, your film. Because what brought on Broken was the fact that I had a spoken word CD,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that I wrote books, poetry, and then I did music. So I wanted to use Broken to also promote my CD, my books, everything promotes something else, because my
Right.
poetry is in the film. The music I've written is in the film. Like the songs I've written with other people are my lyrics are in the film. And they even sparked
Mm-hmm.
another project, Whatever Happened to Us. And it's, so each thing sparks another project. And it's kind of interesting because Broken was a faith-based film that could be used for ministry and to help people deal with their brokenness and their core hurt, things that they don't know have been affecting them throughout their whole life. Because
Right.
sometimes we harbor things and we embed it into us, and hurt people, and we bring it on, and then things become festered to the top when some tragedy happens. It brings it to fruition, and now we have to really cope and deal with it because it's destroying the things in our life and or the
Right.
people around us. And it's so interesting because he was like saying the same stuff I've always been telling people to do, like align with other companies. When we were talking about Whatever Happened to Us, we were talking about doing a Whatever Happened to Us weekend getaway, for couples to work on their marriage, because Whatever Happened to Us was about a couple going through a divorce. And you and I were
Right.
even talking about making a feature version of it. Because it's like a 40-minute film slash music video type deal, musical soundtrack. That's what I like calling it, a musical soundtrack. Um, but it's like, because it's not about a couple who cheats. No one's cheating. It's about a couple who grow in two different directions with kids. And I mean, they have a
Mm-hmm.
family, have kids, and they're moving in two different directions. One is looking for what they missed already, their dreams and aspiration. And it's funny, pursuing your dreams has always been a part of any project I do. Like if you look at all my movies, there's always the theme of
Mm-hmm.
going after your dream or your goal, because that's when your purpose, and because that's when you start to feel some fulfillment in your life. I'm always been a big proponent of that. And it's funny because you remember the other film we've talked about, right? I mean, think about this.
Yeah. Oh, I already
The
know. Do you
the
see my
the
mind? My
yeah,
mind is
like
like,
because my personal motto is build your dreams, leave your legacy,
mm-hmm.
right? And so I've always been about encouraging people to go after their dreams. So it's interesting when I think about my films, how all of them are about tapping into what you want, your dream, and making the sacrifice or facing the challenges or adversities to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
as we start to talk, we going to get right into our topic, because our topic today is I didn't know what I didn't know, the pitfalls of the first time indie filmmaker, because there's some things I didn't know.
And yeah, and I think it's a great topic because the fact that I am lining up to shoot, and getting all of this stuff, and plus the other things we talked about, like the Black Filmmakers Lounge planner,
Mm-hmm.
or the Black Filmmakers planner, that is freaking amazing. And I like, soon as my investor money hits the bank, I'm gonna be like, I need a pre-order copy, like in the it's gonna be, we're gonna call it a test copy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna send my money, you're gonna send the book, and I'm gonna send it, I'm gonna have to send it over to Staples or Office Depot to get the spiral done.
To get it printed out, yeah.
So I have to get it printed out, get the spiral done, so I can. So I'm excited about that. But yes, the fact that because of that, and then the new service that I'm introducing at the same time as I'm doing my first film. So it's and you've done film and you have the book. It's a great topic for
Mm.
today.
Oh yeah.
Great topic for today.
Because I ran into a lot of pitfalls, which may help me in designing the planner because
Hmm.
um, the planner is more so um, like you need to write in your information. You need to. It gives you tips. It gives you insight.
Hmm.
Like there's some we added to the planner a couple weeks ago because we're at like 250 something pages, right? And I said, you know what, movie poster,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
What's the
Graphics.
how to make a movie poster? What are the tools you can use? What you think about on set? Um, do you have a photographer that's on set? Because I didn't, right? We had to pull images from the movie when we did Broken, and my graphic designer created because I have a certain style too. So he works within my style at the time. I liked silhouettes. I'm very big on silhouettes. I don't know. My art was all like when I drew, it was always silhouettes a lot. I didn't like putting faces on people or anything because I wanted people to be able to identify. Like to me, the perfect silhouette would be like an etched mirror in an image of a person. So when they look at it, they see themselves. Like that's the perfect silhouette to me. And that's how I look at
Mm.
my filmmaking. That's how I look at my storytelling or my poetry, is that it allows people to reflect. So it worked out very well, right? Um, so with Broken, I didn't have, I didn't have so I kind of did Broken at first as a one-man show. Let me tell you my
Hmm.
mistake. It was me. I had two cameras. I had the Canon GL2, a Canon XL2, which is the bigger camera, and when they both the XL2 shot in 24p. So I had to set them both for 29.9. So I think I used the XL2 more than I used the GL2. So I used the GL2 to catch shots or do certain things. Um, like catch the neighborhood or something because it was a smaller camera than the XL. And I didn't have a sound person. I put a mic on a boom stand.
Oh
I bought a
wow.
boom stand and put the boom mic on it and over the characters. And we just moved it. I just moved it and I was on camera.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I was directing, filming, doing sound, and this is a feature. So I didn't know how to build a team. I didn't know how to get people involved. Now, luckily, I had friends who were believing in what I was doing and they were getting
Hmm.
involved. Like Damar Daisy, he was the graphic designer for the poster and a lot of the materials, visual materials. But he came on board and he started getting on the other camera. He started getting on camera and say, "Hey, I'll do the shots. You tell me what you want." He started, if I needed a person to hold the boom mic at later on, he started being there to help hold the boom. So I had certain people. Then some of the actors, as it was progressing, was like, what can I do when I'm not on set filming, being in front of the camera? What can I do behind the scenes? So they started coming and helping out. There was a young lady, Amber Stewart, towards the end. We did some pickup shots, and she came in and we took my condo, which was originally the home for the main character, and we transformed it into a nightclub to shoot where he's on a talk show talking about the story. Um, it's so interesting. So I just learned. I mean, think about this. I was the total filmmaker that I now tell people don't do it. Right? You can't do sound. You can't run the camera. Don't do all that. Get some people involved who know what they're doing to help you out. Because we had to do ADR for most of the movie, which was very costly. We had to pay for studio time, right? And these were all kind of not first time actors, but some of them were first time actors. And some were friends of mine who didn't have the acting bug, but I knew could pull it off, right? And they gave they gave me what they could of themselves, where they were in their lives. Some did a really excellent job, and they brought it with those characters that people, when they watch it, they feel them. And it's different experiences for each character. But that dialogue replacement was costly because I didn't know the sound part, right? I didn't have a sound person. And so you're going through almost an entire movie replacing the dialogue for almost every scene.
God dog it. Woo!
Yeah. So and
that became quadruple octawork, right? Instead of double work.
Because then you're editing and you got to lock down the sound in your editing, or then you see a problem, so you got to tweak that edit with the sound locked to it. It was just so much stuff, and sometimes there's scenes that the sound's slightly off, could be a little bit. It's just so many things that you learn from that. But now you know how important sound is, right, to a movie. I want to jump down here real quick to Valicia. She says, I have an idea of a story to do a short, but I think I overthink of how I want to come out. Is that normal? Yes. So don't overthink it. Overthinking is your enemy. And I'm going to tell you why. Just do. If you haven't even done a film yet, do it, because we get caught up thinking. How can I make this better? And don't be, because Derek hit me up. I wonder if Derek is watching. What's up, Thomas? Derek hit me up, and Derek was like, it doesn't have to be, don't be a perfectionist. Doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be really good. It's a difference. Because there's no perfect movie, and we get caught up trying to be perfect. And what it is tell the story. You ever have somebody a person tell a joke and they're good at delivering the punchline, and another person tell the same joke and it's like, okay. The first one probably wasn't perfect. They could have made mistakes, but you won't recognize it because it's how they delivered it and made you feel listening to it, the emotion they gathered, and you laughed. The other one, you noticed the mistakes because they were probably too busy trying to remember the joke instead of tell the joke. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Too caught up.
Yes.
Look, Jamal said this. I remember that I felt so bad for my second session of the voiceover. He helped paid for it. Yeah. Some were like, yo, I'm going to pay for it because I was wasting time. Let me come in and I got to get this right. But it's people helped out, and Broken went on to do what it was doing. Like, it got into film festivals. We sold plenty of DVDs. And so our niche audience was a faith-based audience. I knew that audience. I knew what I was aiming for. Did I get the support I thought I would get from churches? No.
Shit.
But you know what? I learned.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I mean, I learned, realistically, everybody's not going to support it, because they don't know who you are, or they don't know you, and they don't believe in it. And you know what? I even had talked to a bookstore to get the DVDs inside the bookstore. And, and it didn't happen the way I thought. But I went through the whole thing. I had the barcode. I had the scan number, everything. I did all that stuff.
Oh, wow. The SKU number. Remember those?
SKU numbers, everything. I learned that from doing my books. But I'm a person, I self-publish, I did my own art, stuff like that. But I knew to now delegate and give other people opportunities and pay them for their work and stuff. And Broken was one of those things. Jamal's like, hey, Broken is a success. It was completed and it exists. Right. People can watch it. You can order DVDs if you like. So, and at that time, I hadn't worked on anybody's set, really. I had only did the video production and filmmaking when I was in school for communications, for mass comm. So I still didn't know what I didn't know until I started doing it. And then then I didn't have anybody to talk to at that first time. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have someone I could give a call to and have a conversation with. It's like the people we talk to now. They have us to call,
Yeah.
and then we have other people we can call. And
Yep. Amen.
but I learned my marketing skills. I learned the importance of things we often overlook as independent filmmakers, especially in the Black community. Um, I figured out what I would do for the next project. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. But technology kept moving fast and quick. Um, I owned those cameras for a long time, but I had bought another camera to shoot in HD because that one was shot on an SD camera back then in 2004. But when you really think about it, I should have purchased an HD camera so I would have been ahead of the game, right? Because right now, everybody's going to shoot in 4K or 6K or 8K. And the Ks don't matter as much because we're still watching a lot of content in HD, but you're still prepared and ahead. I did believe in buying equipment, so I bought a lot of equipment. Like I still have my lights. I have more lights now, but I have lights. I have tons of microphones, from lapel mics, wireless mics, boom mics, handheld mics. I mean, I made an investment in audio. And the reason I did those things was I didn't want to need people. You know what I mean? Somebody shows up to set. I don't know. I didn't want to. Having equipment to me is I just need somebody to hold the mic, or I need somebody who knows what they're doing with the microphone or knows what they're doing with the camera. They don't have to bring their camera. I got them. And that's how I think. So.
Mm-hmm.
So what's up, TK? Because your thing is your challenge is different because you've worked on sets, right? And you've worked on other projects. So you learned how did you learn what you didn't know while you were working on those projects?
Because I watched them, paid attention, and I think so. Writing is all I'm like. I don't want to produce. I don't want to direct. People are like, oh, one day you're gonna no. So I've never been on set watching and learning for the purpose of stepping in these positions.
Okay.
So that's number one. So being able to absorb and obtain the knowledge of the directing skills, the producing skills, and all of that stuff has just basically been just being around it and seeing it taking place. I was literally not intentionally taking notes on set or anything. So I have learned, of course, over 22 years, I have learned so much. And when I wrote this stuff all down for the service, for the new service, I wrote all this stuff down. I literally was sitting at Walmart for 2 hours waiting on the tire and wrote 5 pages, and then got home and write 2 more pages. And I was like, I know a lot of stuff. And then literally just being on this last set and watching the Pitfalls, these people, I've never seen one of the pitfalls these people had on any set. No, I've seen one. Let me take that back. But these people had multiple pitfalls, and it was like I was like, "Yep, I got that on the list. Yep, I got that on the list. Oop, let me make sure that's on the list." You know what I mean? So it just added to but basically all the stuff I had down, I may have added one thing because I had everything, every problem they had, I had it on this list, this consulting list. So I had all of that. Yeah. So I was just like, but it was just so much, and then I've been to school the last 3 months because I've been prepping, pre-production for my film. Right. So I've been in school, like with the insurance. I literally thought I was going to pay like maybe up to $2,000 for insurance. No, it's 1% of the production budget, and it is not $2,000.
Right.
I was just like, wait, how much is that? Did you say? That was not in the budget. Let me get that in the budget. So just being able to lay out the pre-production for my film, help me with the payroll company and when to know, when do you have to use union crew? I still have to find out one more thing is which crew members have to be union. If
Right.
your budget is over 1.8 million, you have to use a union crew. So you have to pay the fringes and all that stuff.
Mm.
So being able to, so just going to school these last 3 months added to everything I did not know. And then, of course, when I get on set, you know, for the production, it'll probably be a couple of more things I'll add to this list. But this list right now is so stacked. Like I'm like, wow. I mean, I think this thing is like 7 pages. It's
Oh,
seven
wow.
pages right now, and I still have to add. I still have to add um, 2 more pages because I'm going to put in every position.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when I
But
was
you
on
know,
this
that's what
set,
the
they
book
didn't.
has. The book has the checklist of all the positions for your film.
Right, I'm going to put the position and what the position does because on this last film, they thought first uh, the first AD's job was to make call sheets every day.
Hmm.
No, that's the second AD. Like that's not his job. His job is to
Well,
keep
it
the
depends
film
because if a
moving.
movie on an indie budget, they may not have a second AD,
If they don't
right?
have a second AD, that stuff needs to be laid out ahead of time because because what we ran into is we were on set a lot longer days because the first AC was working on call sheets and there was nobody moving the set along,
Right.
and that kept
Okay.
us there for more time. You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
kept us there for more time. But even on $70,000 films that I've worked with this one producer, she's really really good making sure the key positions are done, and she always has a production coordinator and always has a second AD. And I tell you what, when I seen why she did that, it made the most sense because she would lay the schedule out ahead of time, and then she would make sure all the scenes were filmed, and then she made sure the second AD was putting those, getting that schedule together for the next day, and that's what that second AD worked on. While the first AD worked on set, running the set, the director directed the people. Like everybody has a job to do, but when I seen her doing it on the $70,000 sets, making sure she had those two key positions, it made a world of difference having them because
Mm.
who's going to run the set if the first AD is working on call sheets all day?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And calling characters and stuff. It's like, well, who's running the set? The director's trying to direct actors. He can't direct
Yeah.
actors, and you know what I'm saying. So I learned a lot from a lot from being on set with her as well, Tammy,
Okay.
and hopefully Tammy, the godmother, Myra. Hopefully we'll have her. We should have her on the show soon. I need to call her and see what her schedule is like because she just got off another film. But those, when I seen her budget and seen that she made sure she had those key positions, it made a world of difference. I tell you, because when you when you have your director looking for locations, taking care of being the UPM, um, I mean, it was so many different jobs, and then directing is last. You want a great film, but you're not making sure you're setting up the cast and crew with what they need to make it successful.
Yeah.
If you have to
Definitely.
get on set and give everybody else it, if you have to get on set and give each person 3 and 4 duties, then you should have waited. You should have waited because there are some things there are some things because all
I
you do is stress your crew. All you do is stress your crew. I mean, I'm saying there are key positions that need to be taken care of.
Yeah, I'm about to
And
say
then in
because
pre-production,
sometimes as an indie, we're gonna wear multiple hats, or we're gonna have
right.
people that wear 2 or 3 hats. But I think it's better to make sure that their hats they're comfortable with, because
Well,
the
actually,
worst
I
thing is to
can.
put somebody in a
mm,
place they're not familiar with, and you're gonna burn them and stress them out in that situation. And it's always due by budget. It's always by budget because you're not gonna have a bigger crew. Like if I make a $10,000 movie or $20,000 movie, I'm not gonna have this big crew. And I'm kind of glad that, unfortunately, but COVID kind of came along because they
mhm.
made cutbacks even in the industry that you couldn't have so many people in the room to film. Like you had to cut
Yes.
back. So it showed you how you can cut down on some positions or as necessary. It's not saying that you want to do that, but as an independent filmmaker, it kind of let us know that, hey, we're going in the right direction sometimes when we don't have 20 people on a set. If we can't afford those 20 people, we just can't afford 20 people. It's okay if we got 5 or 6. You know, we just need to make sure it's 5 or 6 people that are comfortable and familiar with their responsibilities, or are willing to become familiar before we film, period. And that
And
we
that's the
help each
thing
other
about
out.
pre-production. Yeah, that's the thing about pre-production. The director on this last film, he had 6 jobs. His last job was to direct the actors. His last job was to direct the actors. He had 6, so he was stressed out every freaking day because pre-production wasn't done. If you want one of your PAs and you have one PA and you want that PA to work crafty and meals, you better have all them snacks you need before you shoot.
Right.
There are too many shortcuts being taken that don't need to be taken. Or like why would the director need to be looking for? The director can't direct because he's looking for a location for the next day shoot. You
But
see
you
what I'm
know what?
saying?
As a first time filmmaker, that's what I did. But then I understood what it takes to get locations. But then I also understood the art of making a deal. You know what I mean? Like when you got to go negotiate, because again, for each film I did, I had to negotiate a location, or I had to find
Right.
the free locations, or I had to find out, did a location require a permit? Because I have to get a permit, and what does the permit cost? There's certain aspects that I think that every filmmaker should kind of go through the process of planning their film, knowing what it takes, and just making a film. Because I've talked to people and seen they made a mistake of using locations and never got a location release form. Every location I use, I have a location release form. I have a generic location release form that I read other release forms and developed. Later in the game, back in the day, they had disc. Like you could buy a disc, a
Yeah,
CD-ROM with all the contracts, with all the film stuff you needed to know. And, I subscribed to some of that stuff and I went and tweaked them. I'm tailoring them to where I live because I was in Maryland at the time. And even when I was in Texas, what are the laws? That's the other thing, not knowing the laws or the rules of where you live. Yo, Derek, what's up? Because I just talked about you earlier, about
hey
talking to
Derek.
you last week. How you told me stop trying to be a perfectionist. But TK, there's a question for you by Valicia. She says, TK, did you feel overwhelmed when you wrote your first script?
Uh, I would say slightly because slightly. What I did was write what I know though, so that kind of helped. I was just like, this is all I know, so this is just what I'm going to write. I had to get to that point writing, in regards to just writing what I know. So a little bit because I was unfamiliar with it, of course, since it was my first. But I'm trying to think back. Uh, it wasn't extremely overwhelming in terms of it wasn't extremely overwhelming because I had took that class and learned how to write a scene and I had read a couple of books, so it wasn't extremely overwhelming. But it was still like, I don't know if this is correct, but I'm just going to write what I know because I don't know what everything else to do. So, so I'd say it's maybe a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Okay.
Not a whole
Uh,
lot. But
um,
back to what you were saying. Oh, you got another one?
she had
Oh,
she
is that
had
her
one from
again?
earlier. I've been watching YouTube videos on how to write a script. Is that okay? Yeah. I mean, there's a guy, it's a puppet. I can send you links. I used to use it in my classroom. But now, I mean, I write scripts. My first feature film, I wrote the script and I kept tweaking it, which is I felt bad. Like I would have a dream at night on my first film, and I'd be like, I need to add that scene into the movie because it'd be so much, excuse me, it'd be so much better if I did that and changed that. And then I studied Steven Spielberg, and they wrote the next script for the next scene for the next day for Jaws the night before while they were doing the movie. You see what I'm saying? So we
That's
sit
stressful.
here, we think we gotta
That
have
would
it
be
all
stressful.
together all the time. And yet, when I'm listening about Steven Spielberg, I'm like, wait, they wrote the next scene the night before. You know what I mean? Like, what? Hold on a second. What? And we're being told, hey, you got to have your whole script done. They shot a movie they did not have a script for.
Wow.
But they
And you
had to
can
make
call me too,
changes to
Felicia.
it a
Yeah, you
lot
can call
too.
either of us and we'll give you of course I'll definitely give you some some basic things I learned to help me because it was overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
because well let me take it back. It wasn't as overwhelming as it could have been now if I would have started writing because there is so much information out there. There's so much information out there. So I really dealt with the basics back then, and that helped me more build versus and then learning by going to the conferences. So if I would have been learning screenwriting right now, it would have been really overwhelming because I would have been like, oh my god, because it was so much. It's so much. But being able to focus on the basics and build from there, for sure. But back to what you were saying, Michael, but it's in the pre-production. This is what I'm talking about. When we talk about locations and all that stuff, we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about not getting the locations the night before. We're not
Right.
talking about getting snacks the night before. You can't you can't have this thing not fully pre-planned out and then overwhelming your crew on set with 2 and 3 and 4 hats, 5 and 6 hats in some cases. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to have this thing completely scheduled out to be able to do a small crew. And Derek, of course, he's on here. He can attest to that because I know he uses a really small crew. But you have to have this thing planned out. You cannot just jump on set and all of a sudden your key PA is the UPM and, and crafty and both meals. It's like, and the key
Right.
PA. It's like, or your director is doing 6 positions and his last position he's actually doing is being able to direct the characters, which should be his first because
Mm-hmm.
he's too busy trying to get funds in and work on other stuff for the next day. Like it's to me, if you cannot be, to me, is to do it the right way as much as you can the first time, but everything is in pre-production. That's the whole thing about your book. Not the Black Filmmakers Jam book. Your book
Mm-hmm.
that you created, as well as the consulting, is pre-production. That's the whole thing. It's
Right.
pre-production. Pre-production.
Well, I go back to the 7 P's, and I learned this a long time ago. The 7 P's: proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Period.
I heard that as a kid, like I was young, and I was like, wow, and it stick, those things stick with you. You know what I mean? It helps because what I learned is planning things out. When we don't plan something out, it doesn't go the way we want it to. Even if we plan things out, it doesn't go the way we want it to all the time. It's where we get Murphy's Law from. However, planning makes things go a lot smoother. I learned to develop a checklist. Like when Tiffany and I were going out to shoot we had a checklist. Do we have this? Do we have that? Do we have this? Are the batteries charged? I buy enough batteries that I have some charging while I'm shooting with others. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
come back, I swap them out, put the charge in the pack, put the other ones on the charger, let them charge. And so I had to learn that. I had to learn to have a mic case. Like the only thing in here is the microphones and the sound equipment. And because I like dealing with wireless mics more, um,
Mm-hmm.
I have my boom mics. I have 2 boom mics now. One charges USB C, which is a Rode mic. The other one I have to have batteries for. We buy packs of batteries well in advance when we know we're going to film. We put them inside the audio bag. Um, if something else requires a battery, like I have lights that require batteries because I like portable lights, and I have plugs for lights. So we charge those and they go in their own particular bags. So we know that this bag is the audio bag, this bag is this. And some things come with its own stuff, cases and stuff. So you have that. Um, because on my first film, we forgot the boom mic. And
Mm-hmm.
we're sitting there trying to use a camera mic, right? Um, so that became a problem. And that messes with the audio. So there's aspects I started looking at to make my work much simpler. But there
Mm-hmm.
was a case where um, We ran out of batteries working on a thing. Oh no, listen, we ran out of batteries. We had wireless mics. We bought the actress didn't have an outfit. We needed to go get an outfit. Tiffany took her to go get an outfit while we were setting up the set. They came back. The outfit was polyester. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta put that on my
Polyester
sound.
creates this crackling
I gotta
sound
put
in
that
your
on my
microphone,
list.
right? So I
The
said, we don't deal
polyester.
with anything polyester now, right? It has to be cotton, something smoke flowing. And because even with the silicone thing over the mic, it still was creating that crackling sound over the mic whenever the character moved. So we have to make sure that the outfits are a little loose where the mics go, and that we pouch them up, that the mics are kind of hidden.
Hmm.
There's just various aspects you kind of learn.
I had to put that on my list. I knew it was something I was gonna need on the no polyester because I remember you saying that.
Yeah. Um, so and Derek was saying you'll be surprised how much that is done, but they're seasoned to do that. And he's talking about people playing the various different parts and stuff. Yeah, Derek, I was using a silicone sleeve and the polyester was just still rubbing up against it. Because I keep the silicone sleeves, they're like the mics go inside of them, but it was like
Hmm.
polyester just is horrible. So I realized, hey, we got to have a boom mic on set, and you should have the lapel. If you're going to do wireless, have the wireless, but have the boom mic too to get the other audio. Because when there's an
Yep.
issue or mistake, you can fix that. Um, but the equipment today is cheaper and a lot more intuitive because these companies are listening to us. That is also why it's very important to become beta testers, um, to also respond to companies when you use a tool to tell them what the problems you ran into. Because when they make the next one, they improve on that. So like people used to have a problem with mics getting hot. Hot is when your
Hmm.
mic starts crackling, the sound is too blowing out, and you hear the crackles and stuff
Oh.
in the audio. And so they now have mics where it sends two signals. It sends a low frequency signal of the recording, like a few decimals less, and then it sends a high one. And if the high one gets too hot and you get that crackling, you get uh that sound in there, then the low one is still available to you to bring it and boost that volume up and replace it. So those things are available. But again, a person like me, I learned that because I played every position when I made my first film.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I need to
Yep.
be aware. Even having other people now do it, I got to be aware, right? Because I need to know what they know. Because I had a guy, I was talking to him about sound. He's like, I have that. And I'm like, yeah, I got that equipment too. And his price, he had to try to tweak for me because he didn't need to bring his own equipment. He just needed to show up. He
Oh
needed to
yeah,
bring
yeah,
his
yeah.
body. He's like, but I can bring mine. I said, I don't need you to bring yours. I have the very things you got.
I have the same
So
things you have.
yeah. And I said, I just need you to come and be the sound person. I I got the recorders, I got the devices, I even got some other stuff that you didn't mention. I just need you to show up. And that's sometimes that's how, you know, I think, and it's like Jamal mentioned it earlier. I taught him to be self-sufficient because when he told me he wanted to do music stuff, I said, well, where's your microphone? Where's your computer? Where's your keyboard? Where's your recording equipment? Where's the software? Yeah. I'm not a person that people could tell me I no, I can't get you in. I had a studio in my house later. I bought a soundboard, everything. And I was like, all right, I could do an automatic dialogue replacement in my own home.
Mm.
So I don't have to go to the studio. I know what I'm doing. I have sound people who know what they're doing too, who took sound engineering classes and stuff. So they just come over my
Hmm.
house. And so I learned that stuff too because I never wanted someone to say no or I'm not available. Because if you need the camera and somebody goes, well, I got something to do, you can't use my camera, or I can't be there. and you got to find how many other people. Nah, I just break out my
Mm-hmm.
cameras. You know what I mean? I thought like that because I had a nephew who said he was a rapper, and he was telling me, I said, so what happens when that guy says he can't get you in the studio? You can't record your song? He said, yeah. I said, why can't you? And he was like, oh,
Oh,
well, I
absolutely.
said, when you own your own equipment, can't nobody tell you no. You can do
Hmm.
whatever you want because
And
you got your own stuff.
and if you're unable to own your own equipment, like me, make sure it's people that you trust, you've worked with, that you know their character. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have built a whole team off these people that I've worked with over the last year and a half. Um, almost, yeah, shoot, almost two, probably 2.5, yeah, something like that. Yeah, about a year and a half. But I know their character. I've worked with them on multiple sets. They bring, I'm good to them.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them work and they're good to me. So I've seen them. So they're people I trust. So I don't have my own equipment, but there are people that I trust that I've worked with and I know their character that I can trust to come and shoot.
Right. But it
So,
also, you do have your own equipment for what you do. So, like,
mhm,
I'm going to give you this perspective. You started out as a script writer. You went and bought a
mhm,
laptop. You bought your script writing software. Can't nobody tell you can't write your scripts. You
right,
went and did what you had to do to go to the seminars and trainings to be a script writer. Can't nobody take that away from you. You know what I mean?
right.
It's somebody, because somebody's gonna need a script. Or if you wanna write a movie, you can go do it. I mean, both of us could sit here and be like, oh, because I was just teaching my kids, my students, they did silent films. And then I made them, they went
Hmm.
out and they shot them. And then I had each individual in the group edit it because I knew it was gonna look the same. Right. And they were like, yeah, how, and the kids were talking how different each of the films were, but they all have the same footage and how different someone edited or what they captured. But it
Oh,
also
wow.
showed who didn't plan, who really didn't use their shot list, who really didn't draw a real storyboard. Because some of my
Mhm.
students was like, yeah, I noticed something. They had a bunch of wide shots on the storyboard, and that's all we got. But you learned all these different camera angles and shots and their purpose. Why do you have a bunch of wide? It doesn't look. I said no one feels your character. They're not connected to it because you got all these wide shots. And so they get to talk about it. Now they're working on. So we went down. Now I showed them a different script. When we did silent films, I had them write scenes because it was a
Mhm.
silent film. There's no dialogue, right? So now we're getting into slug lines. Talked about writing the
Ah,
action, writing the character and dialogue, because now that's a
yep.
different script because they're not just shooting images, they're now filming with dialogue and images. And we broke down the Lion King. And
Uh-huh.
so in that, to Valicia, in that Scriptorama, a bunch of script sites, you can find almost any PDF file of a script for a movie. Find your favorite movies, find movies that tailor to certain things you're into. Um, and you can see the script. You can read the actual scripts. And I tell people to do that because that's what I do in my classroom. We go through an actual
Mhm.
movie script. Since you're on YouTube, actually Pixar does great with this. You can screen the script. What they do is they have the scene and they have the script at the bottom. And as the scene plays out, the script is scrolling so you see how it's written and how it's translated onto the screen. And they have
It's
it
called
for
script to
up,
screen.
script to screen, or screen to script. Yeah, it's definitely script to screen
I
or
love
script to
Up.
scene.
That's
Or
one of my
yeah,
favorite movies.
but like up, because I use when I teach montages, I use that scene in Up when they
In the
get
beginning.
married and they
Yep.
go through their whole marriage, and it's a tearjerker. But the looking at that script because it's just a montage, so there's no dialogue outside of before, except when she's like telling him she likes him, and then they
That's
get
funny.
married. They grow up and get
I like
married.
you.
Yeah, and so um, it's important that people study actual scripts of movies made, and what they look like.
Yes.
And the book I would tell you is the Screenwriter's Bible. It breaks down everything and helps you write. Because really, you just need to know the technical stuff. everybody's a different type of writer. Like TK and I talk about
Mm-hmm.
this, the way she writes, the way I write. But if you meld with people, your writing skills, it's like me working on set with another DP. I light differently, but I can learn lighting skills from that person that I haven't added to my repertoire of lighting skills. You know, I like natural lighting. So I use I
Yes.
use very less lights. I bounce lights off of ceilings, off the wall. I have panels. So, you know, if I only need one or two lights in a room, I know how to work them. If I want the sunlight to come through the window, now somebody else may go buy big lights and they can create their own sunlight coming through the window because of the lights they're using. But
Right.
I'm a low budget guy. I'm not looking to do that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's different. And so but script writing, it ain't going to change. It's your style, it's the storytelling you do. Everybody has their own type of style in their stories. Like you can, if you know TK, you'll see her in anything she write with you or write for you, you'll see TK come out in it or what you all talk about. So, and that's the other thing. It's you're going to work with a script writer. It's good for y'all to have a conversation. Because some people
Mm-hmm.
are like,
Because
well,
our
here's the
job.
story. You know, here's what I got. And they like to walk away and want the scriptwriter to work magic. But your personality comes through more when your scriptwriter gets to know you and talks with you about it. Like it's consultation. That's what it should be. But if you're trying to write, which I think everybody should get their hand in writing, so they know how to break down a script,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that was the other thing. I didn't start breaking down scripts until I realized, oh, I need to break down these scenes. And then I need a schedule, but I knew how to schedule my actors. I'm not going to schedule people. If you don't need to be there, I don't ever have you there until they said, hey, I
If
want to
you,
come help. Then anybody said they want to come help, then okay, yeah, you can come help. But if I know people who have all their actors show up to watch them
at
film
the
something.
same
And I'm
time.
like, the actors were like, yeah, we were all sitting there and they were filming this scene. Like, well, are you in the scene? No. Were you shooting anything? No. Then why were you there?
Why were
Like,
you
no, that's money.
there?
That's time. That's a wasted budget. Right. And
There's
I've
no
had that
reason.
conversation with people. And people are like, I want to be a producer. Well, a producer would have known if I don't need you, I ain't gonna have you on set that day. And here, let me get you up out the way. If I only got 3 scenes with you, let me shoot those 3 scenes with you now, send you on your way. Because what actors have been saying is they want you to get them in, get them out as quick as possible because they can go work on the next project.
Absolutely.
You may not be able to pay them a lot of money, but if you can spend less time with them, they're more apt to come on your set and work. Think about it. It may cost you to get this certain actor, but another actor who has a name, who's been on Netflix or whatever, may come on your set because they know you're going to film them and they're going to get out and they're going to work on the next project. But if they think you're going to stretch it out, like, oh yeah, I'm going to bring you on Monday, then I'm going to bring you back next Tuesday, then I'm going to bring you back next one. Yo, and the scenes all take place in the same location, they know you don't know what you're doing.
Oh no.
Right.
That's listen. In the same location? That because
Change your
literally
clothes.
I wish I had my paper here. It's right over there in my backpack. But I literally have the schedule. I have the
Mm-hmm.
actors who are coming in on that schedule, the actor who need to be there that day for all their scenes. And then I have an actor who's flying in who is 2 locations, but it's one day and then the very next day is his next scene. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So he's there
Yeah.
for 2 straight days. There's no break in the middle, but I created the schedule to where all of that is all of that is together. And yeah, there's no way I'm at one location and I have to have a person come back a second day. No, everything you shoot, you come that day you shoot.
Right. And they
Like
get them out their
that's the
way. We can go home.
pre-production.
But I had to throw that in there because I was like, wait, y'all sat in the hotel room? Yeah, we sat in the hotel room watching them shoot this scene. You weren't in it? No. Like, why were you there? You could have been doing something else. You could be running your
Why were
lines
you
elsewhere. It's a
there?
because to a newbie who hasn't done it or been around people, it's a control. I think that's control. Oh, I need you here. You don't need them there. To what? To see you make a movie? They're going to see you do it when they work with you. But if you don't need them, or if you don't know what you're doing, you're looking for input. I get it. Some people do bring people around and have input, but those aren't the people you
But
bring
you need to
around.
tell them that that's not their job. Their job is to come and be man number one. And man number one has two lines, and he don't need to be there for 65 hours for one day for two lines at 10 o'clock at night, and you got him there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's
They,
the if you know me, if y'all know me, that is the biggest thing I'm on. Is I will never waste $1 of your money or a minute of your time because I respect people's time and money too much.
but
Like
that's what
you
we
just
don't
don't do
know,
people like that.
right? That's what people don't know. So that's where I say the learning comes into play, because how do you make a schedule? Okay, so if I'm going to shoot a night scene, if unless it's the night is transitioning to day, then I'm not going to shoot a day scene right after it. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? If you're at the club and we shoot you coming out the club and it's morning, then I'm gonna shoot at 1, 2 in the morning at the club, and then have you coming out when at 4 or 5 in the morning when the sun's starting to come up, if the sun's involved. Because, and
Right.
that all depends on location. Because you got to remember. So here's something we don't think about: weather, right? Some filmmakers don't plan for weather. I watch the news. I listen to the weather and traffic every day. Why? There's an accident. You got to get to your set. You don't leave 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes before, maybe sometimes an hour. I'm usually at my set 2 hours. I'll rather sit in my car and be there than to be late.
And the thing is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, one set I was on, we had to go like 45 minutes out, and they sent the text, "Hey guys, there's an accident. I'm
Mm-hmm.
on my way, and there's an accident." So I'm just giving y'all a heads up because you working these people to death, like you say, 3 and 4 hats, and you're working them to death already, and then you're working 12 hours. So they may not get up and check the weather way ahead of time. I mean, not the weather, but they may not get up and check the traffic ahead of time, or maybe one or two people. But hey, communication. Hey
And that's
guys, there's
why
an accident.
That's why you set up a text chat, whether it be through now I don't use what's the name anymore, WhatsApp app, but we used to all communicate on WhatsApp app when it was very private. Now that Facebook owns it, I don't feel it's too private. That's just me personally. But I would rather find an app that, hey, it's very private, it's locked down, so
Hmm.
everybody doesn't get everybody's phone numbers and information and stuff like that and be bugging people personally. So I don't want to do a chat
Oh
unless the
yeah.
actors know
Well,
each other.
usually, but you know what? Usually it's the crew. The crew is not as bad as like the crew is not as bad as like actors because you do have actors that but usually the crew is connecting with each other, so it's
Yeah, yeah,
usually
yeah.
not as bad with the crew.
But I mean, it's just like you have a work chat. And while
Hmm.
you're working on that
Yep.
project, you have a work chat, and everybody needs to be
Yep.
in a work chat. And you can send them chat messages. You can send them information they may need to know. You can say, "Hey, here's a reminder to check your email. The call is out, right? The call sheet's out. This is out. The schedule's here. Da 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 da." And so it's a good way to communicate, because some people don't always check their email, or they check it and they forget that there was an email and it gets lost with a bunch of emails. If you like me, I get probably 400 or 500 emails a day of random crap. That's why I have different email accounts set up. And sometimes even my business account doesn't come all the way through all the time. So I have another
Whew.
working account that stuff goes to. And only certain, and then I have email accounts only certain people are privy to. And then I
Oh.
tell them, you cannot give it out,
Oh.
because I don't want to be signed up for the latest thing. I don't need no spam. I don't. So I know, right? If it goes to this account, family, like there's an account only my family has. It's just for
Mm.
family. It's not a business account. It's not tied to anything else. It's just for family. I do that. There's a system for that. And the reason I have a system. It works. It keeps me safe, and it doesn't jumble up things. Right. But
Okay, that's good.
that's why it's important to break those things down. I tell people Instagram pages. If you're going to communicate through Instagram, DMs and stuff with your actors and all that, then you need to, actors, filmmakers, no one should have a private page. If you're in the business, do not have a private page. I don't even follow private pages. Because why is it private? You're in a business. You should have a public page for you as an actor, and you should have a personal private page that's separate. Go ahead. I'm sorry, TK.
Just to interject on that private page, my page is private because I got spammed four times in 1 week, and it on Instagram, and it wasn't until I made it private till I stopped getting spammed.
Right.
So, I'm saying there could be a reason that the page is private because I had that issue, and it was public, and I was like, I don't understand. And somebody's like, you need to make your page private, and I'm like, but I need my page public, and it was
But that's
like,
why I
no.
say
So I'm just saying it
create
could.
an actual business page that's public, because you're gonna get like people have come to the Black Filmmakers Lounge YouTube page and started spamming and posting stuff, and we blocked it right away. When we catch it, we block it. But it's seeable because you're trying to get gigs and get jobs. And guess what?
Mhm.
Everybody doesn't have to follow you. So
Right.
I don't
So
want to have
okay.
to
So
mark
I'm just using
follow
myself
to
as
see.
a.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't want it. So what I'm saying is you should have a TK page that's TK and a TK business page. And on your business page is only business stuff for film and script writing and all that stuff. That's what's there. Right? Your personal stuff is your personal. And the reason I say that, you can go block those people quick enough on your business page, because if it's business, you're going to let it tell you, hey, you got somebody communicated, da da da. But you also have, I have settings, primary people, da da da, right? Like the Black Filmmakers Lounge Instagram page. It's not private, it's public. We want
Right, but
people
I
to
kept
find it.
they kept creating pages. Like that's what I'm
But you
saying. It
can't
wasn't
stop
like
them.
people
But
communicated.
they're gonna create pages. They're gonna go to your Facebook. They're gonna go find you on the internet. All you gotta do, type in a person's name, grab their picture, put it up. I only have
I
one
just haven't
personal
had that
page.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only have one personal page. Y'all hearing it? One personal page. The Black Filmmakers Lounge got one Instagram page. My other pages have one page. I make a page for each film. That's one. They don't have other pages. They're not going to have any other names or change. And we always put what the links are in our emails or on the website, stuff like that. So don't let someone go, oh, that's his fake. Like Jamal got to put this out there. Jamal's mom has one Instagram page. I've had a bunch of times every year where some fake page is made for his mom. Well, I know they're not his mom. Right? I know they're not his mother because I know his mom, one. Number two, she only got one page, and they're not going to have. And here's the thing, fake pages have more recent pictures. Original pages has a time period of pictures that have been created. Go to the most last picture on the page. How recent is it? If it's too recent, that's a fake page. Unless you're saying, hey, I'm creating a new page today. But you're going to say, this is my only page. I mean, it's going to happen. That's
Right.
the
Well, I
nature
haven't
of the
had it
beast of the
happen
internet.
since I've locked my page. I had four in 1 week and I had one, but since I locked my page, I have nothing. Like I haven't had any problems since I made my page
See,
private.
as far as I've known, I have never been
Hmm.
spammed yet. Like no one's ever
Oh
created a
yeah,
fake page for me yet. But again,
that's good.
hey, it's a blessing. But at the end of the day,
I'm telling you, because people are constantly, hey, you got to, hey, this you know what I mean? And you're
but
like, okay, hold on, let me
here's
fix
my
this.
thing to people. If you know me, you know me. You know what I mean? Like you're going to know what I put up and what I don't put up. And I ain't going to ask you for no money. Yeah, see Derek. Oh yeah, Derek's last week. It was his Facebook account was hacked, and he had to create a new one. They're gonna do it, and so okay. So let's talk about internet safety real quick, because we don't know what we don't know until we know it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and it's already
every
11:20.
every
God,
3 months, every 3 months, you should be changing the password to your social media accounts.
every 3 months.
Yes. Hackers are using systems to break your codes. So if you give them a year, they're gonna get it. And
Is
I
anybody else like
guarantee
me?
you,
They have three
most of
rotating
y'all.
passwords.
I, so again, I was just about to say that. I bet you, I guarantee you, some of you use the same password for a bunch of accounts multiple times, and you just switch them through so you can remember them. Well, your phone now creates new passwords and it'll remember them for you, but you got to create new ones anyway. So it's okay if you forget, because it's better to create one so no one can hack you. People get hacked because they get comfortable. They find your info. They think how you, first of all, so sometimes the people you know can hack you. Because guess what? Most of y'all probably have a password that's connected to you, your personality, how you think, the numbers you like, your favorite number, maybe your birthday backwards. Hopefully not your social security number, the last 4 digits, because that's going to get you at a lot of people. And then some people are vain, and some people are part of organizations, fraternities, sororities. That's built into their password. Passwords need to be something not associated with you. It's like, if one of my questions is name a pet you had and what your name of your pet was, what if I never had a pet? I'm just gonna make one up. My dog was called Fluffy. People who really know me know I ain't had no dog, so they ain't gonna answer that question. You know what I mean? Like, so you can't
Michael ain't
get
got
it.
no dog. Michael, no, he ain't got no dog.
Exactly. But that would be the questions I would have the thing ask me, because I could be slick and be like, my dog's name is Nunya. Like, ain't not none your dog. Like, none your business. Is how you do it. But you gotta create the password thing, and go ahead and let your iPhone or your Samsung make a code for you, make a password, make a real long one, and change it when you need to change it. You can put it in the memory of your phone. Now, some people lose their phones. I've never lost a phone. So I can't, I take care of my stuff. That's my personality. Like I tell my wife, you got to have a system. When you have a system, things don't get lost much. When you don't have a system, you misplace things all the time. And you're running around looking for it, and it's probably literally sitting in the last place you put it. And you don't even know what the last place you put it is, because you don't have a system. I come in a hat, I come in the house, I take my hat off, I put it on a thing, my keys go in the hat. Why? Because I got to take the hat and put it back on my head, put the keys in my pocket, put the hat on my head, and leave the house. You see what I'm saying? Like, my wallet stays by me on the dresser, like on my end table by my bed. That's where my wallet is, and everything else. Any money is right there. You know what I mean? Like, not big money though, but like,
Routine, yeah, your
yeah, my
routine.
change sits right there. It's a constant routine. When you have a routine, you lose stuff less. Filmmaking has to have routines. When you have to have pre-planning, you're pre-planning. Okay, so here you go, TK, your routine. Now it is, right? Hey, here's your plot breakdown list. Write in all your points of your story. Boom, do
Yep.
this. Now I'm gonna work on the script. Boom, do this. Now I can break the script down. Boom, do this. Now
Yep.
I'm gonna revise the script after I send the first one out to a couple people to read. Boom, I get back the revisions, the information. Then I'm gonna go back and now revise it, make the changes. Boom. All right. Now I made the revisions. I'm gonna let my script sit a couple days so I can get it out of my head. So when I go back and read it again, it's refreshed. I know you, TK. I'm gonna take a break, and then boom, I'm gonna go back, look at the script now, and revisions I made. Okay, I don't like that. I'm gonna change this character. I'm gonna do this. Now I'm gonna send out the new revision so everybody can. Now it's gonna go out to one or two of the people who read it before, but now it's going to go out to a couple new people who haven't read it so they can give me the feedback, so they're not used to comfortable. That's a system, and it works for you.
Yep.
You get
Yep.
what I'm saying? So when you got a system,
Absolutely.
you have to apply that behavior to everything else. I don't think we mastered the art of applying what works well for us to everything else. Time management. Apply time
That's
management to
good.
your filmmaking. Apply time. I had to learn to manage time because I will eat, sleep filmmaking. I will go to sleep, have a dream, call Jamal and TK and my wife, and tell them I had a dream this would make a great movie. There, all right, write it down.
He really does. Yep. He really does. Yeah. It's constant. This filmmaking thing is constant. It's really constant communication. It's like, hey, hey, hey.
You got to have your
I
core
kid you
people you
not.
bounce stuff off of. You got to. But it's like, what
You have
didn't I
to.
know? I didn't know, did I know how to schedule? Did I know how to budget? Let me tell you, in the beginning,
We're
I
gonna
was
go back
afraid of budgeting.
because it's we're almost an hour and a half in, guys.
Yeah, we're
This is
about to
gonna be
be
part
done.
two. We're gonna definitely have a part two of this. We're gonna have to because we didn't even get into schedule and budgeting and we're gonna have to have a part two. It's a
Yeah,
lot more to
I
this,
mean,
guys.
we were just talking about what we didn't know on set, what we didn't know about making a film. Like, I knew about location releases. I meet people who don't think about it. I'm like, wait, what? You
They don't
need
even think
that.
about a budget.
Some
One
people
guy
didn't
was
even
telling me.
some people didn't even have their actors sign a talent release contract.
One guy was telling me, "Yeah, I'm gonna shoot my feature film. I'm gonna shoot my feature film." This, I said, "Oh, so what's your budget?" He said, "What's a budget?"
Even if you don't have a
Something,
budget, you should have a budget.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you should
That's
list
what I'm
out and
saying.
say,
Nothing.
hey,
He didn't even know what it was.
I bartered for this. Oh, I'm trading time for this. You know what I told some of my artists who I use their songs? You let me use your song in my film, I'll shoot you music videos.
Mm.
And I did exactly what I said I was going to do. That's the other part I want to definitely talk about on our way out. Keep your word.
Keep your word.
My father told me one thing: man is only as good as
Keep
his
your
word.
word.
And what I've met in this business, in this industry, and even in another industry, is people who will tell you and agree to do something and will change it because they lack money. I keep trying to tell people money is a result of, not the primary. When you make it the main focus, it will do damage to your relationships. And
I'm
here's what I
telling you.
mean by that. If I tell you I'm going to shoot your music video for $500 and I buy a new house, I'm still going to shoot your music video for $500. I just need to find other ways to make more money. But I'm going to follow through with what I said I'm going to follow through with because that matters. Okay? Now, later you come back for another video, I can say, nah, ain't going to be 500 like the last one because it's a whole different project.
Absolutely.
And if the agreement I have with you, I have with you. I don't have to have it with everybody else. This is why, one, I never talk what I pay other people with other people. None of your business.
Yep.
A contract's a contract. That's different. It's like, I'm not an employer. It's a contract. So if I contract TK for something, that's TK's business and my business because it's a contractual agreement for the period of time. Yep. If I work with Derek and I do a contract, it's what Derek and I agreed with. It's not Derek, this person. So it's nobody else's business, because here's what happens. Here's what bad business happens. When somebody goes, oh, I know I talked to such and such, and they said they paid you this. I thought you were going to pay me this. Well, no, we're in a contractual industry. It's never the same. Yesterday's prices, thank you, Joe. Yesterday's prices are not today's prices.
Yesterday's prices are not today's prices.
Thank you, Fat Joe.
I'm
telling you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that for my gym. I'm gonna say this with my gym.
So I just want y'all to keep that in your minds, like when you're dealing with people, and just be diligent. Like, you never know what you don't know until you start doing stuff. That's the truth. That's why it's called I don't know what I don't know, until you find out you didn't know, because you're around people and stuff. This is why it's very important to join the Black Filmmakers Lounge community, hop on the shows, listen, all this. Hey, Tone, by the way, I meant to say hi. And be a part of the network, because I think what happens is the more we network with each other, the more Derek can say, hey, did you do this? Derek is on Tubi. Derek has a bunch of films on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to get on Tubi and you have not talked to Derek, something's wrong with you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep.
Because he's there. He's where you want to be. You might need him as a mentor. He is where you want to be. A mentor, you need to have people around you who are where you want to go. I do not have someone mentor me about buying houses who live in an apartment. I just don't, because they don't have a house. They don't know the process. They don't know what's needed, what's necessary. So I'm going to talk to people who've bought houses.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be around them to mentor me through the process. And that's so, unfortunately, everybody thinks we can do it all by ourselves. You cannot. It's not meant to do by yourself. Life is not meant to live by yourself. And that's in every aspect of business. Most of the industries we're in, you need people. Whether you think you do or not, your audience are people. How do you connect with them?
Absolutely.
So it's a relational built society. These are relational built businesses. They're collaborative. And this is an expensive career. This is an expensive art. This is an expensive expression. Filmmaking isn't cheap, but it's expensive to an extent. But it's not as expensive as it used to be. You can get a camera for about $1,200 and I'm talking about 4K. You can spend $5,000 and get an 8K camera. I mean, so at this point, the game is now your creativity and who you surrounding yourself with. All right, Absolutely. So you're gonna have to do a part 2 because we could talk about what else you didn't know. And I like to bring someone to talk about. You know what? Derek.
Derek.
I like Derek to want to talk about what he didn't know and what he learned. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that would be that would be good. Derek, what are you doing on the 22nd? I mean, 25th. 25th.
Yo, just hit me up, bruh. 25th. All right. Me or TK, just hit us up. Because we already talked anyway, but I'd love to bring you back on, man, as always. So as we're clearing out, as we're getting ready to roll out, I already dropped my gym, as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, TK. What's your gym?
I forgot it. Yeah, I waited too long. I forgot it. I should have wrote it down. So, Derek, but listen. Okay. So my gym, I guess my gym would be tomorrow night is the March roundtable, guys. So if you can make it, come with your questions because each time we're trying to lead off the conversation so you guys could, be the ones talking and not us. But tomorrow I need you to bring your questions. Last month we had what were your tips to pass along. Tomorrow I want you to bring your questions because we need to know, we want to help you or any questions you may have. Or anything you may clear up. And if you have the knowledge, come on so you can help answer those questions. Even if you have a question, you may be to answer another question. So bring that tomorrow. So that's what we're going to do is be able to, because that's about helping each other, through this interdependent film community. And that's what we're doing. So come tomorrow. It's 6 to 8 Eastern, 5 to 7 Central. And yeah, we love to see you.
Yeah, pass the word. Hanging out, people talking. You know what? And I'm gonna tell you, it's been growing each time.
Yes, and send us your thing because sometimes I'll just go in and try to remember to send people stuff. But don't assume that I'm gonna remember every time to add you. So if you are interested, please definitely DM me and say, "Hey, TK, don't forget me," so I can, because I'll try to make a list. So and I'll probably send that link out. I'll probably send that link out today.
Okay.
No, I'll send it out tomorrow because that way it'll be at the top of your email and y'all won't be digging for it. I understand. I get it.
Send it out today so I can get it to my peoples who was like, yo, hit me up.
Okay, I'll send it out today.
Might even get on, right?
I'll send it out today.
Because I know hey, guys, I will tell you this. When you get an email you want to hold on to, flag it. Put a flag or color to it. And you'll see it on the side. and you'll go, oh, that's the one. Don't do it to all your emails. Do it to the most important ones. And then when you're done with that email, remove it.
Okay.
And so these are just quick tips to help you stay focused and manage your time and communications, because those are the biggest things in any industry: time and communication. All right, so hey, we like to thank everybody for hanging out with us here at the Black Filmmakers Lounge. We're back. We're gone for 2 weeks. We're back. We're about to do what we do. Join us tomorrow for the round table. We love it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Be blessed. I appreciate my co-host, Tamara TK Henderson, my sister. Thank you. And it's been a great day for both of us. And remember that Black Filmmakers Lounge is where interdependent filmmakers, whether novice or professionals, come together to gain insight, perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black interdependent film community. I had to say that was a lot. So, like, subscribe, share, join our YouTube channel, because that's how we can start monetizing, doing some things. We need 1,000 of y'all and a lot of watches. So, but we're going to make it happen. Look out, because we got consulting coming, books coming, films coming, other projects coming. We're going to do what we do. We love you guys. Be blessed. Have a blessed and wonderful day. Be safe. Go make films. Peace.
Like, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share.
Peace.